Hello, hello Pisces. Welcome to your May 2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Pisces. And I'm not able to fast forward my shuffling because I have to use my old film setup temporarily. So I hope you guys enjoy this reading regardless. But don't forget to subscribe, like, share, whatever you feel inclined to do. And as always, all of the decks that I'm using today are listed in the description box, so make sure you check that out. And let's go ahead and get in tune with anything that you want to have come up today. If there's some specific information that you're needing or wanting, just ask for that to show up. Take a deep breath into the diaphragm. And then I'm going to lay this timeline down really quick, and then we will get right into the reading. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and start with a truth bomb. Let's see what is coming up for you guys today. Beckon angels. Okay, so a couple things comes up when I see this. One is that I know there's a whole bunch of information on this, but remember that angels don't have an ego and they can be anywhere at any time. So you actually have the ability to dispatch them when you need them. So if you feel like you're kind of in an intractable situation or something that you're not sure if there's going to be a solution or how it's going to work out, angels are the answer to that. So that's one tool that you can use at this time. The second thing that's coming up is to utilize the connection that you have with your higher power, right? So even if that's not angels, it's just about like, hey, get in touch with that. You're a psychic spiritual sign, you know, kind of like at the core, especially depending what placements you have in Pisces. But regardless of that, the energy is there. So you can really utilize that for whatever you need this month. If you need help, if you need support, if you need resources, remember that that's available to you. Okay, and then the animal card for you in May. Elephant. Slow and steady foundation. I'm getting the pace of an elephant's life is actually very, very slow. Not necessarily in the way that they move, but think elephants have excellent memories. They're very family oriented. So there's a lot of root work that goes along with that. And they're really focused on big picture, legacy, long term. And so that's really what I'm seeing you as being able to put a lot of energy to in the month of May, is that long-term big vision. And so you're really setting yourself up for the foundational elements that are going to put you in that position where you're creating what it is that you want and building the big stuff in the month of May. But this is not an overnight process. This is slow and steady. This is going to take time. This is a long-term project. And that's what the elephant is reflecting back to you. So let's see what the word of the month is for you. Hunger. Examine complacency and recommit to your passions. Take this opportunity to stretch yourself and find sustenance. New gusto and gifts await within the challenges at hand. Or the challenge at hand. So this is, I think that something woke up. Like there's something awake, which is like this is a non-negotiable, this is something that I need, or this is something that I'm doing, that I'm creating, and that is fuel. That is what's going to help sustain you, because since you guys are mutable, you know, there's a lot of fluidity and flexibility that can go along with that. But this is saying that the focus, your ability to focus, is finally going into something that I think has made an appearance probably within the last couple months, where you're like, okay, this is what I'm hungry for. This is what I'm needing. This is what I know that I'm here to create, or that is really pushing you. So this is kind of like a fire under your ass a little bit. Okay, let's look at the central energy for you this month is Temperance. Give and take, push, pull, you know, masculine, feminine. It's about being able to integrate all elements, trying to get into a flow state that works for you. So one of the examples that I would give for this is like the Temperance card is, you know, something where it teaches us how to rest and work. You know, rather than if you work for like 40 days straight, you're going to crash, right? And so the Temperance card is about integration. It's about weaving in those elements of balance, however that looks for you. And everyone's version of balance is going to be different. It is not one size fits all. It is not uniform. So what you have shifting out is the Hanged Man. What patterns do you typically engage in, or what patterns have you been involved in? Scorpio got this shifting out as well, and it's reading as being similar. And if you guys watch the April reading, you know, April was a big transition month, like a big healing month. And so remember that April was the month that brought a lot of information. It was shining a light on all those dark corners, on all those nooks and crannies. And so that's where, now that you have the information, this is where implementation can take place. April was when things were shed and broken down and split apart. And so when parts of you start to shed and dismantle, then it's like, okay, well, what do you want that to be filled with instead? The pattern has broken, that, you know, hopefully, depending on what action you're taking, but the pattern is moving out. And so now that you have that space, what are you weaving in? And then the oncoming energy is the King of Cups. Mastery over that wounding, over that struggle, over that experience that you've been having. This is about finally having a strong hold on what it is that you're using this healing to do, or you're using this healing to create at this point in time. So that's what this is all about. I think that May might be a little bit more experimental in terms of what you're trying to implement piece by piece. And then that's going to lead you to master it. And that's where you really lay the concrete and use that to your advantage. However it looks, it's going to show up differently for everybody. So this is really bridging the April reading and kind of bringing it into present time, because you're now in a space where the more you integrate either like habits or something new that's sustainable and consistent, that is quite honestly where you're going to see the most benefit. That's where the mastery can make an appearance. Now, these two cards up here, I am using as like the external world. So what is the external world reflecting back to you? What's going on out here? External circumstances, situations, people, places, things that are outside of yourself. We have the Empress. Let me see what the other card is first before I start reading that. And then we have the Ten of Swords. So you can see this is an extension of April, remember, because there's kind of like a ripple effect. If you did a whole bunch of healing or there was a whole bunch of turbulence in April, there's somewhat of an echo that happens after that. It doesn't mean you're fully like in the mud necessarily. That's going to be a case by case basis. But this is about either having support. So in the external, maybe you've decided to start working with a practitioner. I know that a lot of you guys work with me. But you know, this could be a therapist. This could be a new friend. This could be even like a massage therapist or someone to help support either your body, mind, or spirit through the healing process, which is the 10 of Swords. But don't allow the echo to make you feel like you're not making progress. That's not the case. It's just that it takes time for the information to kind of settle into present time, and that's what the Temperance card is helping you to do. So it seems like the external world is just about getting support with that healing. The 10 of Swords, I don't think that this has anything to do with like a new experience that's going on. It's, hey, this is what is being supported through that external person, place, thing, situation, resource that you're calling in. And then to clarify these, we have the Star. See, it's all healing. It's not like this is by no means is this destructive. You've already been here. Okay? Or maybe you're still dealing with some of that, some of the ripple effect. And the Star is just a reflection of things are falling into place. Like there's, you know, the healing that's happening behind the scenes. There's the right opportunities and the right things that you've been manifesting, hopefully, if you actively manifest. But that is where, you know, there's kind of that the stars are aligning, super cheesy spiritual principle kind of comes into play here, which is the timing of things unfolding and being mapped out are working for you. It's not working against you unless you're kind of entrenched in that belief, right? So the more you can focus on like the more healing I do, or the more support I have, or the more I trust, the easier this is going to get. Dispatch angels, beckon angels, like that is really what you're that's another thing that you can use for this if it feels like it's out of your control or like it's not moving as fast as you want it to. Okay, but this is honestly like one of the best things that I could see for you guys. If you haven't watched the April reading, I recommend going back and watching that because it might resonate if you haven't watched it already. So let's get into like your internal process. So this is more of the internal world, the internal experience, what's going on your side of things. We have the Queen of Wands. It's like restoring your energy, getting that back to where it may have been in the past. I think you're going to see a lot of that come through this month. And then we also have the 5 of Pentacles. So there's a little bit of fear coming off of this card. That's to be expected. Because I think that it's like you're almost a little bit distrustful of perhaps how well things are going, or maybe you've had some breakthroughs and you're kind of like keeping that buoyancy, kind of staying afloat, or maybe you're like the dust has settled even a tiny bit. If that happens and it challenges the narrative that you were running in the past, there's part of you that's going to be like, when's the other shoe going to drop? You know, it's hard to not do that. It's a practice to get out of that mindset. But this is showing because the energy is being restored, the 5 of Pentacles comes in and kind of wants to dampen the parade for the sake of being realistic, right? Like there's no way that things can be going well. And so that's where it's about where you're focusing, because this is like the next challenge, right? It's like maybe you're doing all of the healing, but the next challenge is going to be receiving good things, like rather than just accepting what was in the past. I'm going to clarify these. The Lovers. So connection and decision making, both of these are going to play an important role in all of this, and I think it comes back to the Queen of Wands is your model for being able to hold on to that energy, receive the good things, welcome the welcome the abundance that you have rolling in, or whatever it is that is the case. Could have something to do with relationships or connection, right? Because that is kind of like stereotypical lovers stuff. But this also has to do with what decisions are you making, or what actions are you taking in order to get you where you want to go? That's going to be an important question to ask yourself, because the Temperance card is saying you need to take aligned action in a way that is going to support you or support you in reaching those goals. Again, or doing that healing, or getting that thing that you've been working towards. And it's the integration piece that is requiring action, right? Because it's like, if you don't do anything, then nothing's going to change and nothing's going to happen. It's not, it's like you can have all of the resources delivered, but if you don't get to actually implementing them, then they're just going to sit and collect dust. So that's where it's like decisions as well as the connections are going to be an important part of holding on and maintaining those manifestations, rather than just allowing them to slip through your fingers. Okay, let's get into the timeline. So if you're new to my channel, I break this down into quarters. So this will be like where you start the month of May, second, third, and fourth quarter. That'll be where you end the month. So first thing, we have the 10 of Cups. Oh, see, this is where I'm like, okay, sunshine and rainbows. Can't have that, right? Can't be too good. That's where I think it might be a bit concerning, or a shock to the system rather, if things are improving or if they are getting better. I think there might be quite a lot of you that want to default into old thinking, old patterns. And then some of you, maybe you've healed enough to say, okay, thank you for this. Things are improving, things are getting better. I'm receiving this, and I'm ready to, build more and more and more. And as you expand, you might face new challenges, but you can also have new tools along the way. So depending on where you're at, some of you are going to be like, yes, I'm welcoming more. And then some of you are probably gonna want to resist this. Quarter 2, we have the Chariot, forward movement, that vitality, kind of this is essentially another sun card in this deck in particular. So you've got your energy back. Things are going well. So it's about perpetuating that. Whatever it is you're doing that can provide relief, make you feel good, make you feel recharged, maintain that. Like, check in and take inventory of what are you doing to inspire that or support yourself through that. And seriously, keep a list. Keep track of those things that are working for you and that can be useful later on. Quarter 3, we have the Hierophant. So needing some structure is also going to be helpful. Maybe it's time to get a planner. I know that, with Virgo being your sister sign, it's kind of like, okay, maybe, take some notes, hang out with some Virgo friends or somebody who's good at structure, organization. But I want to be clear that if you're in kind of an extreme mindset, like, oh, I need to try 10 new habits, I need to do 40 different self-care activities every day, you're setting yourself up for failure if you do that. It needs to be something that, one, works for you, is your style, and is in bite-sized pieces so it can be sustainable. Temperance wants you to focus on sustainability, not extremes. And so this just is like saying, hey, give it a little bit of structure so that you can carry it with you into the future and actually experience mastery over it. And then wrapping up the month, we have the 5 of Pentacles. See, this is like, oh my God, is this sustainable? Is this going to work? And And in reality, it's like we all, in order to level up, you have to have those new challenges, right? It doesn't mean that everything's going to fall apart every time, though. It just means that it's a new experience and a new challenge. I'm going to clarify this one for you guys. I don't want to leave you with that. I would feel bad. So let me clarify the Five of Pentacles. We have the Hanged Man. It is consistent. It can be sustainable, but it requires your action, right? It requires your consistency. You have to lead with the actions that are going to cultivate consistent results, not the other way around. Like I said, with the elephant coming up first, this is big picture, long-term, slow and steady. And don't expect extreme joy, 10 of Cups, 24/7. Of course, that's not sustainable, but you know, as you start with the integration process, even if you have a little dip or you hit a speed bump, you know, even if you're in the middle of doing well or doing a lot of healing, you know, this is going to, at the end of the day, be something that some of the highs and lows might smooth out a little bit so that it can be sustainable. But it's, yeah, it's all about the action that you're taking. It's less about the external world. There's only so much you can control there, right? But the things you're doing to take care of yourself consistently is what's going to support the long-term creation of the positivity, the good things, the abundance of resources, or whatever you're doing that come into your life. All right, now we're doing a 3-card pick, so you're welcome to pick a card, feel into whichever one feels good to you, ask a question if you'd like. Card number 1, Queen of Vessels. So this is you. This is, you know, filling your cup, taking good care of yourself. Also, you know, surrounding yourself with people who make you feel nurtured, supported, grounded, seen and heard. Those are going to be important elements to consider as well. Card number 2, we have the King of Branches. This is equivalent to the King of Wands. So maybe you're more in taking action mode. Maybe that you've like had enough, or you felt like you were in some complacency. You know, we have this Hunger card. And the King of Branches is like, okay, now go for it. Take action. Make it happen. Build, build, build. Do your thing. Just beware of extremes. If you pick this card, because the King of Branches or the King of Wands is also the King of Extremes. So you want to be conscientious of that. You don't want to crank it up on high heat every single time. It's just about like, yes, definitely take aligned action. That is a good move for you. Just make sure you're not doing it in a manner that will burn you out. Card number 3, we have the Mage of Arrows. So exploring your ideas is going to be wise. It's kind of like, it's safe to explore. It's safe for you to kind of, like the Hunger card said, examine complacency and recommit to your passions. I see these 2 cards as being very closely related. So use this month to do that exploration, to take your time with that, to have fun, and see if you can feel into things that are working for you or feel good and can support you, because the more you tap into that, the more sustainable this is going to become. All right, friends, that is all that I have for you today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this reading as much as I've enjoyed reading for you. Don't forget to subscribe. There's a button over here. And if you need to work with me one-on-one, if you need some support, you are welcome to check out the description box. It has all of the links to work with me or get additional readings like on Patreon. I do love readings every month and weekly sign-specific readings, so you can check that out. And all of the decks are listed in the description box as well if you want to get a hold of any of them. And until next time, I'm sending you lots of love, lots of support. I wish you nothing but the best, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.